What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Pastor Gains, and I have a faith build for you that I've been tooling around with in Elden Ring for the last few hours, and I really like it. I think it does a great job of damage. I know Holy kind of gets a crap deal when it comes to this game, but I'm having a blast with it. It does great for mobs, it does great for bosses, it does great for mini-bosses. Overall, I hope you guys are enjoying it. So, let me take you through it, and let me show you what I got going on. Now, the first thing that I want to take you through is the weapons that I've decided to use for this build. I have 3 weapons currently equipped. I'm not using all 3. I just want to show you what valid weapons would be if this is a build that you want to go with. The first one, we have the coated sword. I only have it at +8 because I don't have any more stones, but this Ash of War is great. It's got massive range. It does a really good job of destroying enemies, and especially the enemies that back up really fast after they attack you. This negates that and allows you to hit them even as they're going back. Its physical damage is absolutely terrible considering there is none, but once you buff up everything with holy damage, it feels really good. The next weapon that I use with this build all the time is the Sacred Relic Sword. This needs no introduction at all. Everyone is familiar with this weapon. Its physical damage is great. Its holy damage is okay. Its faith scaling is only C, but for whatever reason, it seems to absolutely wreck mobs no matter what you are doing or how you are doing it. When I buff myself up with all the holy damage in the world, this weapon just destroys everyone. I will say, against bosses, it doesn't do that great. You're better off using incantations or a physical damage weapon, even hitting the boss with this weapon over its Ash of War to do more damage and get the boss down quicker. Still is awesome though, and would highly recommend this weapon. Now for this next weapon, our third weapon on the chart of weapons I like to use with this particular build is the Inseparable Sword at +8. Like I said, I don't have enough stones to get to +10, so +8 is what we're working with. But with a faith scaling of a B, and holy damage, with physical damage also being pretty high, this is not a bad choice for a faith build. The other cool thing about this Ash of War is that it causes you to have a ranged attack with your sword. A lot of weapons do this, but this one does it very well. There is a downside to this weapon, however, though, because the ranged attack does not go through multiple enemies, nor does it hit multiple enemies, so it is a single target weapon. Now let's take a look at the seal, the left-handed armament. We are using the Erdtree Seal +9. This gives you a faith ranking of S, and it is amazing when you go to do all the holy damage that this particular build does. It is a must-have. You can use different ones if you want to slide in some different incantations, but with the incantations that I'm currently using, this works very well. Everything about it is exactly what you need to have it geared towards holy damage. As far as the armor, you can use whatever you want. There are a few helmets that give you plus faith, but I'm not using any of those because they don't look great, and if you don't look cool in Elden Ring, let's face it, your gear is horrible. So that's all for the armor. Now let's look at the trinkets and the talismans. So I have Marika's Sword Seal, which greatly raises attributes, but also increases damage taken. The reason I'm using this one is because it does give me more faith and intelligence. So the more faith you have, the more damage you're going to do. It's just that plain and simple. The next one I have after that is the Sacred Scorpion Charm. Obviously, this raises holy damage and lowers damage negation. So basically gives you more holy damage, especially when you're using all the buffs and everything we're going to go through. This is just a no-brainer for the talisman. Talisman number 3 is the Dragon Crest Shield Talisman. It vastly boosts damage negation. Pretty much you take less damage, and nobody wants to take damage in Elden Ring, so taking less is always good. And finally, the last talisman, we're going to use the Phlox Canvas Talisman, and this is greatly going to increase the potency of my incantations. It's just going to make my incantations hit harder, do more damage, and be better overall. So with these 4 talismans, I feel like I got a really good build going on here. It feels great, hits hard, and I really enjoy it. And now for our Flask of Wondrous Physic. This is going to help us boost the holy damage a lot more than if we didn't use it. So we have the Holy Shrouding Crack tier. This is going to temporarily boost your holy attacks, considering we are using the majority of our attacks as holy and are only using holy weapons. This is going to be the tier for us. I also have the Opaline Bubble tier in here as well, which is just going to give you that shield. It's kind of a get good / win button because you're not going to take any damage on the first hit that you receive. It's kind of like a little bit of a handicap, but I love it. It works out really great. So the last part of the build that we're going to be looking at today are the incantations. I have all the slots filled up that I possibly can. I have a few offensive ones, and then obviously I have some ones that buff the stats to make it so that this build works. So the first one we're going to look at is Placidix's Ruin. Now, this spell is going to just spew a ton of holy damage and fire in front of you. It's going to do an original area of an effect attack to get everybody away from you, and then it's just going to go left and right, spewing chaos and destruction everywhere. I like this one a lot. It does take a while to get off, but if you can pull the incantation off, it will do a ton of damage, and you will be left with nobody standing in front of you. Now moving on to incantation number 2, Lightning Spear. This is going to be our second offensive incantation. It does exactly what it did in Dark Souls 3. It has a charge attack to where it will do an area of effect damage to a group of people that are just standing together. It can either be fired super quickly or it can be charged up. I like this one a lot. As a Faith user, this just goes hand in hand with what you want to do in this build, and it also has a decent attack with it. So overall, definitely a great choice for a number 2 offensive incantation. With a low FP cost and just one slot being used for your incantation slots, this is definitely a solid choice. Moving on to our third and last offensive spell, this is Honed Bolt. It's going to strike foes from afar with lightning called down from the sky. You can spam this, so it can be decently good. I have found that it just doesn't do a ton of damage, or at least not as much damage as I want it to do when I am using it against multiple enemies. You can get overwhelmed very, very easily while you are trying to call this down. It does have a short charge time, so be careful of that. But overall, in terms of an offensive ability, if you're using an incantation and need holy damage or lightning damage, this is going to be a great third option for you. This spell only has a faith requirement of 24, so you can use it decently early within the game, and it only costs 12 FP, which is why it is so spammable. Would definitely give it a try. Let me know what you guys think in the comments of this particular one, because out of all the spells I've chosen so far for this build, this is one that I'm a little bit unsure of. So now we're going to move on to our 4 defensive slash buffing spells to make this Faith build really pop and really work. The first one is going to be Golden Vow. You're going to use this right before you attack a boss. It's going to increase your attack and defense for not only you, but your allies. I believe this works for your summons as well if you get them in the space that you can buff. I'm not 100% sure. If you can, leave it in the comments down below and let me know. The next one that you're going to use is Blessing of the Erd Tree. This is a greater blessing to self and allies, just another buff to get your stats up higher, to allow you to do more damage. Overall, combined with Golden Vow, this is going to really help you out. And the third spell you're going to be using is Flame Grant Me Strength. This is going to raise physical and fire affinity attack power, so pretty much it's going to allow you to hit harder, and it has a nice fire affinity thrown in there as well. Combined with the other 2 that we just mentioned, Golden Vow and Blessing of the Erd Tree, this is really going to make you a tank. And then the last thing that I have here is just a heal. It's an Erd Tree heal. It's going to vastly heal yourself and your allies. This is just in case I run out of health Estus. I have a heal that I can heal myself, just to keep things going so I don't have to constantly go back to Graces all the time. So now let's look at how we're actually going to use this particular build. We're going to start by buffing with Golden Vow. After that, we are going to move up to Blessing of the Erd Tree, which is going to give us even more buffs. And then finally, we're going to use Flame Grant Me Strength, which is going to give us even more buffs. This is going to buff literally every single one of your stats. It's going to be fantastic, and you're going to hit like a truck with holy damage. So let's go in, and I'm going to show you exactly what this looks like when we hit this boss. And just like that, we are done. Does a ton of holy damage, really quick kills, and I have not hit a boss yet that I haven't made very short work of. So that's my Faith build, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helps you along the way in Elden Ring. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to like, follow, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you can know when I'm making more content. I do a lot of Elden Ring content and Twitch content here on this channel. Also, I do stream over on Twitch Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 to 10. If that interests you, hopefully I'll see you guys there. And until next time, I'll see you then.